welcome my listeners to the TRUTHSAYER Report, hosted by Jeffrey Hawkins. The global mission of the podcast, the TRUTHSAYER Report, is to explore and examine historical events and how they shape current events and, most importantly, our lives. I will discuss a wide range of topics over the course of the series. I welcome your comments and your suggestions for future topics and areas of interest. Follow us at the following platforms. Email us at truthsayernews@gmail.com. Facebook, like our page, The TRUTHSAYER Report. Twitter, at TRUTHSAYER News. The TRUTHSAYER Report, Episode 5. Today's topic is the Empire of the United States of America. Over the course of human history, there have been many great empires which have given the world great achievements and advancements. These empires helped to shape the world in which we live. On the continent of Africa, there were the Zulu, Ashanti, Egyptian, Nubian, and more. Asia provided the Ming, Persian, Ottoman, and Mongol. In America, the Aztecs, Incas, and Mayas. In Europe, the greatest were the Roman and British empires. To this day, there are customs and rituals which still shape people, culture, nations of empires which reigned, in some cases, thousands of years ago. The Zulu language of Swahili is the second most popular in Africa, second only to English. The world is still impressed with the achievements of the Egyptians. The Nubians, who reigned in East Africa with a parallel kingdom to the Egyptians in present-day Sudan, it had more pyramids than Egypt. The Moors reigned in Northwest Africa, and their greatest general conquered Spain and Portugal, which helps to explain why their skin color is darker and their hair thicker than all other Western Europeans. General Hannibal's battle strategies are taught at the United States of America Military Academy at West Point. The most admired and romanticized empires in the world are the Roman and British. The Roman Empire has had more books written about its reign, and Hollywood has produced great epic tales of its achievements, advancements, conquests, and romances. Julius Caesar is the most well-known ruler, dictator in world history. The romance of Mark Antony and Cleopatra, the most famous of all. However, the world's greatest and most renowned empire until World War II was that of the British Crown. The British Empire conquered and controlled the largest landmass, and from it generated the most revenue in world history. The British Crown once stated, "The sun will never set on the kingdom." Hence, England became to be known as Great Britain. Its world conquest is the reason why the English language is the most spoken in the world. It has often been said that imitation is the greatest form of flattery. In the blockbuster film, The Black Panther, which grossed over $1 billion, the nemesis, Eric Killmonger, states to the royal court, "With the weapon of vibranium, Wakanda could ensure that the sun would never set on his kingdom." In 1776, a new nation was born, and it would rise to become the greatest empire the world has ever known. That nation is the United States of America, the USA. Britain hears of the New World from the Spanish and quickly sets their sights on the new potential of wealth. In an attempt to rid itself of its debtors, it ships indentured servants and the dregs of society to the New World under the control of governors. The goal is to create a new colony who will generate great wealth for the crown. They were correct. The colony of America soon reaches their desires. Unfortunately, the crown gets greedy and begins overtaxing the now known American settlers. The world knows the story of the Boston Tea Party, the original American tax revolt. However, The Crown misreads the tea leaves, and rather than ease taxes, they decide to double down and use force. The Crown's greatest mistake now surfaces. They forgot that the settlers are British citizens who too are aware of the Magna Carta and the principle of property rights. A revolution is born. The settlers, now rebels, declare their independence and win the war against the British Crown. Unfortunately, the British were still unaware that they had just created a Frankenstein. A new country is created. The United States of America, led by General George Washington. He and the founding fathers, with the fresh taste of victory, now seek to build their empire. First, they must establish a government and military. Both are quickly formed. Let the conquest begin. Now, the true story of the United States of America begins. Some say controversy, or simply what nations must do. The United States of America did not steal the country and the land from the Native Americans or the indigenous people. They defeated them in war. As mentioned above, every empire has used whatever weapon at its disposal to conquer. Native American tribes warred against one another for centuries, with larger groups winning with conquesting land, absorbing their defeated rivals' people. The United States of America was simply a bigger and stronger tribe. In 1803, France was desperate for money because of its numerous wars to increase their empire. They and the United States agree upon the sale and purchase of the Louisiana Territory for $15 million. At the time, the land purchase doubled the land mass of the country. The War of 1812 was initiated by the United States of America when it attempted to conquer the province of Ontario, which included the city of Toronto, from Britain. The United States was almost completely defeated, which would have placed it back under the rule of the British Crown. The White House in Washington, D.C. was burned to the ground. Ironically, the national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, was written for the Battle of Baltimore during the War of 1812. Next, the country needed land for Western expansion for the new settlers. The United States of America attacks Mexico and starts the Mexican-American War. The United States wins and conquers the territory that now accounts for all or part of 11 states. They attack Spain and conquer Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. To this day, Puerto Rico and Guam are still U.S. territories, and it maintains Guantanamo Bay as a military base in Cuba. Next, they defeat the Kingdom of Hawaii, now the 49th state, and purchase Alaska from Russia, the 50th state. For military and economic purposes, the United States sought to build a canal in Central America. They offered to purchase the Panama Strait from Colombia. The Colombians wanted a higher price. The United States of America refused and militarily backs the Panamanians in a revolution against Colombia. A new country was created named Panama. The canal was built there. In 1915, the United States invades Haiti and occupies for 19 years. The United States' entry into World War I seals Germany's defeat. In World War II, the United States of America is the main reason that the Western Allies defeat Germany, Italy, and Japan. And of course, the United States deploys the most powerful weapons ever used in war, 2 atom bombs on Japan. Next, they attack Communist Korea and create South Korea, which it still protects. It has the 12th largest economy in the world. In 1965, the United States begins military warfare with Vietnam, which almost tears the country apart and is the only war that the United States has ever lost. In the 1980s, the United States strategically forces the Soviet Union, its biggest nemesis, into an arms war. The United States of America economy is 8 times larger than the Soviet Union's economy. Coupled with the Soviets' war in Afghanistan, economically, the Soviets cannot financially support the arms race, the war, and feed its citizens, particularly after the United States has invoked a grain embargo. Ultimately, the Soviet Union collapses and exists no more. Interestingly, Afghanistan has never been conquered. Since the 1990s, the United States has continued with war, twice in Iraq and once in Afghanistan. The empire of the United States of America has the world's largest economy, the most powerful military, and the most influence of any empire in world history. It comprises 50 states, the District of Columbia, and 16 territories. 5 of the 16 territories are inhabited: Puerto Rico, Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, and the North Mariana Islands. The other 11 territories are used for military and scientific exercises and experiments. Of course, the aliens have to have somewhere to land. Back to seriousness. All people, cultures, nations must take heed. The United States of America is a force that must be reckoned with. In the words of the great proverb, power is never given, it must be taken. Well, in the final analysis, the empire of the United States of America, we are the champions. Thank you for listening to the podcast, The TRUTHSAYER Report, the Empire of the United States of America, hosted by Jeffrey Hawkins. I like to end my podcast with a quote from a great American educator, Booker T. Washington. Nothing ever comes to one that is worth having except as the result of hard work. Speak to you soon.